Hello and welcome to 360 Sports on Trust TV. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. We'll be looking at a whole lot on the world of sports today with some sporting news from Benin City. We'll look at the Super Falcons, how they are going to their preparation towards Paris 2024 Olympic Games, and other story making the round in the world of sports. All right, we'll be starting from Benin City, Edo State, where the National Olympic trials and the African Championship trials went down, and it was end of the game trials yesterday at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, with champions in the 400 meters, women and men, new champions emerging. The likes of Chidi Okezie couldn't defend the title he won last time out at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in the national trials. We'll be looking at that. Where, like I said, the men and the women athletics, the 400 meters final right there in Benin City. Will have a new champion in the women's and men's event. Amenem by name, that is in the women's final, was Joseph. Amene Joseph was able, I beg your pardon, was able to win that particular race. That is in a time of 45.44 seconds to lift the men's title. That is for Amene. In the women's final, we have Esther Joseph winning it in a time of 51.17 seconds, beating the likes of Patience Okon George and co to the gong at the finals in Benin City at the trial. Though for Chidi Okezie, he has already qualified for the Paris Games right there, and we just have to see new ones on block. If you look at that particular race right now on the screen, that is how Esther Joseph was able to win that title, the 400 meters women title, national title, right there in Benin City. We give kudos to her, and a big one. I don't know if my guest is ready to join up on the show. Okay, when he's ready, he will be joining us, and we'll be having him to at least look at this and other stories on the show. But congratulations to Esther Joseph and Mene for winning the men's and women's 400 meters title race in Benin City. Like the AFN president said, that is Chief Tinubu Kokoa, he said that the trials is mandatory for every athlete who wants to be in Paris Olympic Games. So all of the big guns, the likes of Toby Amuson, Ese Brume, Chidi Okezie, every one of them were right there in Benin City. That is what it means when you need to be, you're not bigger than the federation, you're not bigger than the country. Despite they have all gotten the automatic qualification to Paris 2024 Olympic Games, they had to still come down to Benin City to participate in the trials. And then because there the African Athletics Championship event will be coming up later on this month, and also for the Olympic trial, that is a grant for the AFN, that is Athletics Federation of Nigeria, picking athletes that will present Nigeria in these two events. So good one for all of our US-based athletes for coming down to Benin City, and Nigerian-based athletes, all of them converging in Benin City for this particular national trials right there at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. So congratulations to the new champions of the men's and 400 men's 400 meters race and the women's 400 meter race. That is Esther Joseph and Menem for winning that title. All right, let's leave athletics quickly. Let's look at this particular story where the WW, that is World Table Tennis Contender event, will take place in Lagos. And as we speak right about now, that event is ongoing. We have almost top countries when it comes to table tennis in the world coming to participate in this particular event. We have the likes of Ghana, Benin Republic, Cameroon, India, Germany, Egypt, South Korea, and China, alongside Algeria, all of them converging in Nigeria, and also the host Lagos, as in Nigeria, to do battle in the that is World Table Tennis Contender in Lagos. This event actually started in 2013, and it has been something that the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation keyed into, and it has we've seen champions the likes of Taiwo Mati and co in this particular event, Aruna Kadri, Top Guns. And the good thing is that for this particular WTT contender event, will be an avenue for all of the table tennis players that will be going to Paris Olympic Games to use it as a shape-up for themselves and as a preparatory event towards the Paris Games. And that is why the event is coming at this point in time. All right, we have Samuel Amedu joining us on the show this morning. Samuel, welcome to 360 Sports on Trust TV. Quickly, we started with athletics in Benin City. Just yesterday, the event ended, but we have a new champion in the men's 400 meters and women's 400 meters. Esther Joseph for the women, and Mene in the men's 400 meters final, beating the already qualified for Paris, Chidi Okeze. Samuel, are you there? Okay, Samuel, if you can hear me, please put on your mic so that we can hear from your end. Hello?
Yes, very much well. I can hear you very loud and clear.
Okay, we started from Benin City. Yesterday, the national trials for Olympics and then the African Championship ended. We had the minister on ground there to cheer the athletes on. But in the 400 meters final for men and women, that is where the action was yesterday. We have a new champion in both events. Esther Joseph for the women and Mene for the men. Beating Chidi Okeze was also there. Disappointingly, he finished sixth in that particular race.
Well, I think it's a very tight one. I think we saw the live streams of the finals yesterday, and for me, I think it was an impressive turnout. I think it was really something I never imagined would be keenly contested, and I think it's impressive that we had very quality legs, at least that could also fight their place, ensuring that yes, they become domestic champions. And I think this becoming national champions is never an easy feat. So I think commendations to them for really coming all out and at least doing very much well to prove that yes, not what they can do back at their base, they could replicate it also on Nigerian soil, which is why it is very commendable.
Which is why it's very commendable. If we look at it quickly, I think at this point in time, Nigerian athletes, what do you really make of these with their performance, mostly since the beginning of 2024?
Yeah, I must say a lot has been gotten right, and that definitely goes down to the fact that almost every hand has been on deck, and I think from the technical departments of the AFN, they've really been trying to get a lot right, at least looking at how best to resolve the needs of athletes, motivate them, and also ensure that yes, the preparations is always taken to account, and working hand in hand with also the various national team coaches and also alongside the individual athletes, the coaches of the individual athletes. I think it seems to have been a major of breakthrough for athletics in Nigeria. I think it's something we just must definitely sustain, and also looking at how best to improve of it. It can only get better at this level.
Okay, it can only get better at this level. For Chidi Okezie, do you think he actually relaxed because he has already qualified for the Paris Games instead of let me to use this word, wasting his energy in that final?
Yeah. Well, I think we must take into account that athletes, we always look at how best to conserve their energy for the greater challenge. And so, having already qualified, it was possibly and potentially a chance to also open a window for another athlete to possibly probably do his own best to ensure, yes, probably the qualification slot will be won. So I think for me, it's all good. Reserving her energy, his energy, actually for the big one, it will be what will matter the most.
Yes, okay, reserving his energy for the big one. That we are just less than 50 something days to, that is the Paris Games, where Chidi Okezie will be seeing him in the 400 meters battle. And also the likes of Favor Philly, all of them doing so well at the national trial in Benin City. We also talked about the table tennis event that will be coming up in Lagos. Already that event is up and running, and we have some of the top countries, likes of China, South Korea, Cameroon, Ghana, our neighbors will be there, as in are already there in Lagos, partaking in this particular table tennis event. It started in 2013, and I think it's a good thing we're having this event in Lagos.
Yeah, well, Lagos has been the sinus of all. At least events have always been drawn to Lagos. Seeing how incredibly sophisticated Lagos has become, and I think it's no doubt an exciting destination for sports. When you look it side by side with other part of the country, except Abuja, which is also another exciting location that everyone will be keen to visit. Serene location and everything. But again, looking at how massive Lagos is, a metropolitan city, everyone will be keen to have a clue of what Lagos looks like. So I think it's always endearing, and understanding it's also been a base for firms, for major a massive population somewhat, and I think also definitely everyone will want to have events hosted in Lagos. So we've had a lot of events hosted in Lagos, while we also have some in Abuja. But again, taking nothing away from Lagos, it has always been home to big sports. Even though football has left Lagos for a while now.
Yes, even though football has left Lagos for a while, and they are doing everything to bring it back to Lagos. That event is ongoing at the Teslim Balogun Stadium right there in Lagos. All right, let's leave that story and come back to the FCT. Yes, we don't only write, we don't only talk about it, we also do it with our legs. We don't do it with pen all alone. It is the NUJ to FCT correspondent Chapo, that is Nigerian Union of Journalists, football turning, which will be coming up later on, I think in 2 months' time here in the city of Abuja. But yesterday was the unveiling of the ambassador, and then the groupings the draws was also conducted at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel in Abuja. Samuel, you were there. When the whole event was yesterday, the ambassador, that is former Super Eagles defender, as you can see on the screen, Chikwelu Eleonusi was unveiled as the ambassador of the football tourney, the second edition. Samuel.
Oh yes, well, it was a very wonderful event. I think one was excited about how much the NUJ and also a group of journalists kind of based in FCT, looking at how best to really ensure we are in good state of health, and also improve our social integration. And I think this for me was exciting. It's had nothing to do with who does sports or who doesn't, but I think for this taken up by the correspondent chapter of the NUG entity, for me it was a commended for effort. And excitingly taking it to another level, creating a brand ambassador for such an event, and also endorsing or naming one of our own football legends in the person of Chikele. I think it was an impressive one, and definitely one seeing the caliber of individuals who were present. It was a fantastic event and ceremony, I must say, and excitingly looking at also how the fixtures were set up. It's a knockout competition, and everyone is eager to see how we can get involved. And I think FCT Swan definitely, which practically we're involved in, will also be competing, and we're keen to compete for glory, fighting against 11 other teams. Definitely will know it's going to be tough, but again, we've already seen how well we'll map out our strategy and at least ensure we have it going on well so that we can hold our own against the defending champions, which has Federal Road Safety FRSC. So I think it's going to be an incredible championship coming up from July 11th to July 13th. So definitely it's around the corner already. So we can't wait to get things going. And on our own part, we're already kicking off preparations to ensure, yes, we have a very quality outing and ensure that, yes, we finish on the podium.
Yes, we finish on the podium. That is Sports Writer Association Abuja chapter will be part of the teams. 12 teams will take part in that event. But quickly, when the event was going, the main aim was to create that synergy between the security agencies and the journalists.
A lot of sense, seeing how best to, like I said earlier, kind of deepen social integration, also improve relationship across all boards, security agencies, also major government organizations and private organizations too. I think it was a very, very important event that at least I think we'll definitely see how best to synergize the relationship between these different platforms, and I think definitely would go a long way, especially looking at the government's parastatals that are also going to be involved. You talk about the road safety and not ignoring the platforms like the NMA, that's the medical association, and private groups like IBEN, who are also joint partners of the event. So I think it's a fantastic initiative, I'd say, and commendable effort to Jide Oyekule for really initiating this and ensuring that, yes, this continue to grow from one strength to another.
Just from one strength to another, the event will hold at the 10 Playground, Abuja. The Sports Writers Association, that is Sports Writer Association of Nigeria, Abuja chapter, SWAN, will be part of this particular event, and we hope, like Samuel said, we are going to lift the trophy, not just finish third, but definitely we are going to be champions, beating FRSC to it, who are the defending champions who won the first edition of this event. All right, let's leave that story and go straight to the Nigerian Premier Football League, when one match will go down in match day 37 of the Nigerian Premier Football League later on this evening. We have just had one game, Doma United against Sunshine Stars of Akure. If we can actually lay our hands on the Nigerian Premier Football League table, we will love it, and see where Doma United and Sunshine Stars are on the Nigerian Premier Football League table. But Samuel, I think the Nigerian Premier Football League football this season has been quite very competitive. We saw what happened at the top of the table and what is going on at the top of the table, and what will happen at match day 38. Top and bottom, second, third will be fighting it out between the various clubs, and then at the bottom is going to be a relegation battle on match day 38.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's already looking like a tight battle from start of the season to this stage. I think it's been an incredible campaign, one that everyone will have really been proud of. We've seen how much all the teams have invested so much energy in ensuring that they do their best and ensuring that they really make a very, very good latter end, and I think it's been incredible. Even though we know a champion has been crowned in the moment, and I think an interim, and I think that's been Enugu Rangers. It's been a storied campaign, and the most exciting part is the overwhelming presence of fans, the incredible appeal of fans and attraction for me has been a major talking point of the season, and I think that stems from how much of investment the attraction has built up, and then looking at how much it has also grown across social media platforms. I think it's been a season to remember, if you ask me. And I think the appeal, the game returning back on TV also was a massive boost for how competitive the season 2 has gone. So I think it's really a good one. And I think for the battles for the top places and also the bottom, the survivor too, I think it definitely will know it will go down to the wire. 3 teams are in the neck position of fighting for Champions League position, and the likes of Remo Stars and Yimba and Shooting Stars. It's also going to be difficult to tell because practically almost all these teams were playing their last game of the season on home ground. So it's not come to how many goals can you score. So I think definitely it's unpredictable. We just have only 2 places left to fight for, which is the second, which is Champions League sport and also the Confederation Cup sport. So I think it's definitely will be a tough one, and surely everyone will be looking out to see what's the finals, the final they will turn out. But on the bottom side, and also alongside with the Doma game, I think surely both teams are also really battling relegation. They have to really get the results they need. I think Doma United right now are not having it all going for them. Unfortunately, having their coach Abubakar Bala resigning already, I think that definitely does not speak well for the league. So it's a very difficult one, and I think definitely one not one everyone will be worried about that. How will they fare? How
Okay.
will they fare about their campaign? So I think it's a critical one. So well, it's exciting to see Sunshine already out of it. So definitely they may not be in the conversation. So,
Okay.
but regardless, I think they may just need possibly a point to survive, especially having won their game against Remo Stars. I think that was a game I missed out on, not mentioning. So I think they were initially in the deep quarters of relegation, but now with the strong win against Remo Stars, which was their first in a very long time, or even their first in history against Remo. I think that accounts for them for good. And I think Doma United now know they have 2 home games left, and I think this definitely will matter a lot. And getting a win today definitely will put a lot of pressure on teams like Sporting Lagos, Akwa United, and Bayelsa
Yes,
United.
put a lot of pressures on Aqua United, Sporting Lagos, Bayelsa. Even Niger Tornadoes is not safe in a way because it has to go down on match day 38. That's the last match day in the Nigerian Premier Football League. As you can see the table, Sunshine Stars who will be playing Doma United. So it's a must-win game for Doma United if they are to survive it and take it to the last day. Like Samuel said, it's quite been an interesting season. The competitiveness has been a top notch. But what do you make of the organization, the likes of Elegbeleye and Davis in Owumin this season? The average league last season, I personally rated it so high, but it's a bit very hard for me now to say, okay, maybe the average league or the regular season is even far better than the other.
Well, the truth is, it's understandable why the difference is there. The average league season, there was less pressure because the number of teams that were separated from each other. Now it is much more volatile. Why? Because we have more teams playing a single football calendar. A single football format, not the abridged, not the divided format. So it's possibly was easy to oversee. The qualification, being abridged and whatever, the interests were not as thick as what we have now, having a full season running. And I think it still didn't take anything away from the league organizer, from how they've really held their own. For me, I think it's a commendable effort they are doing. It's not easy putting their foot to the ground, taking strong decisions, even when necessary. For me, I think it's not easy, as you say. It's even the major leagues in the world, struggle administratively, and this is is where I think they deserve our commendation, while we also call for more room for improvements.
Yes, well, we also call room for improvement with Davis Inouye and Legbeleye for doing a good job this season. Well, we have 20 teams linked standing, and match day 38 will be coming up over this weekend. And let's see, already we have a champion, Enugu Rangers, but the other continental places will be up for grabs, second, third, and fourth. Who wins that battle? Remo Stars, Enyimba of Aba, and then Shooting Stars of Ibadan, all of them in that battle. And also at the bottom, Doma United already technically relegated, but they still have a chance. If they win today's game, then it's going to put a lot of pressure on Aqua United, Sporting Lagos, and Niger Tornadoes and co. But let's see how that goes in the Nigerian Premier Football League table. All right, we'll be switching gears right about now, and we'll go straight to the topic of the show, where we'll be looking at Super Falcons. They are in the group of death at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. What do you make of these? Before we talk about that, let's just take some highlights of Super Falcons video their training, and also the last Women's Nations Cup, their performance in those particular games.
Onomona was able to get ahead on the end of, but unable to put on target. And then Nigeria had further efforts at goal. Ushebe able to unleash an effort from midfield as Nigeria continued to attack in the opening half. Estelle Johnson's misclearance fell for Odega, and then the follow-up hit by Ayinde from a long way out, sliced off the side of her boot. Nigeria certainly in the ascendancy in the opening half. The second half got underway as Nigeria increasing their intensity on the Cameroon defence. And ultimately, it was Okobi who was among the stars and set up the earliest chances. This one being hit flush across the face of goal, but then the goal finally came. Okobi, staying on her feet, managed to get the pass back to Onomonu, who delivered a delightful ball. Then Ajibade, who stayed on side, was able to send home, crushing Cameroon's defence and crushing the spirits of their opponents. Ajibade with the third goal of the tournament, a joint leading goal scorer. Final whistle.
All right, welcome back from that video. That was one of the most interesting games at the Women's African Cup of Nations, when Nigeria played against Morocco. It ended 10 against 11, and it went straight to penalties. The whole world stood up for the Super Falcons for how they actually played that game. We lost on penalties, but they actually stood their ground to at least see it out in that particular. All right, Samuel, let's quickly look at the Paris Olympic Games, where the Super Falcons are in Group C. We have Brazil, we have Japan, we have Spain, the world champions, and that group has been tagged the group of death. Super Falcons in this mix, and now a lot of persons are saying, a lot of fans are saying, some of the fans though are saying it is over for the Super Falcons of Nigeria.
Well, I think it's understandable when people write you off, and I think it's also very easy to also tamper one's expectations with some bit of calm. And I think this is an energy I love about the women's game. It's always good that people don't have high expectations of you, and I think it takes a lot of pressure off you. Unlike the Super Eagles, where you have so much expectation, and at the end of the day you get almost nothing. So I think it's pretty better that we see the Super Falcons being talked down, and just like they did in the build-ups to the World Cup, and they came up all highs. And even when they were playing against South Africa in the qualifier for the Olympics, knowing that they were playing against the reigning African champions, who they have not been able to beat in more than 4 previous occasions, they've managed to end such a dominance, such weights, and at least ensure that they did it when it mattered. So I think it's very, very important, and and critical that, yeah, we understand that, yes, we don't even have expectations going against all these top sides. But the important thing is we have a very quality team. We have exciting football talents who definitely will.
Okay, we lost Samuel's there. If you can please join us back, if you can hear us quickly, so that we have your thought on that particular one. For the Super Falcons, they are in Group C of the women's football event at the Paris Games. They will be playing against teams like Brazil,
So
Japan, Asian
this is why
super
I think I
powerhouse,
have great
and
joy
then the
that
world champions Spain, where you have the
the
likes
team
of
really hold
Paralulu
themselves in high
and
esteem.
Co. In that particular team during the Women's World Cup. You know what happened in the final. All right, Samuel, please go ahead. Your thoughts about Super Falcons in Group C.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's definitely going to be a tough one, no doubt. We can't rule the fact that you're playing against some world beaters, Brazil, China, Brazil, Spain, who are world champions, and also the likes of Japan. I think it's definitely will be a tall order, no doubt, for the team. But at the same time, I think we have some quality talents who definitely would be keen to hold their own at the top level, and surely will be players who will also want to shine. They want to really they want to make an impression on the global stage. And this is where I feel it's not going to make sense to write up this team. I'm just not surprised. I remember back in the 1999 set, that played, reached the quarterfinals of the World Cup. They were written up also, but they came all out and at least held their own till before they were knocked out in the quarterfinal, just narrowly on penalties against Brazil. So I think this time around, I wouldn't be surprised if we come all out. I hope if the motivation is there, I think the players definitely will have such a big stage again to make a very, very huge statement. But again, not leaving anything to chance. I think we are up against some of the best teams in the world, and surely we also believe we can challenge and beat some of the best. And I think this is an opportunity for us to show that quality that we do possess and pull up the best possible outing that we could ever recorded in this show with the news.
Okay, now good news for us. This lady, defender Ashley Plumter, is back up and running in training. Do you think maybe Coach Randy Waldron will throw her in the mix going to Paris?
Yeah, for me, I think it could be premature. I don't feel a player like Ashley will be available for the Olympics. As it stands, it's a very delicate one. So she's rehabilitating, and it to be foolhardy to want to rush her because of the Olympics. I think we need to have a leave her and put into the cover. We have a lot of players who also executed the World Cup. We've been without some talented stars in major tournaments. That hasn't stopped us from achieving the impossible. So I think it's going to be important that we look at possible replacement that would definitely also provide us a great coverage of such a very competitive. So for such a very competitive position, you could remember even at the Nations Cup, she wasn't fully available in most of those games, but we pulled through, even though we lost, in that disappointing semi-finals and the final, third match, seeing how best we came up. But again, playing a 9 against 11 game, it's never an easy game. But no doubt we held our own, and we did the need for at least qualifying for the World Cup.
Okay, at least qualifying for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. The likes of Chiamaka Nnadozie, also Sister Toshola, they have been talking ahead of this game. But the threat in that group, Brazil, Spain, or Japan, who is the strongest threat to Super Falcons going out of that group?
For me, in major competitions like this, it's and also as a women's football expert, I really don't want to pick out teams. I think all teams are threats to the Super Falcons, including even the Super Falcons, and we have to be realistic here. Olympic is like your domestic federation cup. You can easily be shocked by teams you never expected. If you check the history of teams that have won the Olympics, they are not your regular teams. The last one won by Canada. You never imagine Canada. What's Canada level? They don't have a league. They have a lot of conversation going on, a lot of questions, but they came all out. It's about the desire to win. It's about the readiness. It's about the quality of preparation. It's about the quality of talent they do possess, and the unism in the team. So I think it comes down to who wants it more, and that's what the Olympic is all about. So that Spain, Brazil, all of them. Brazil has also held their own at the World Cup. They've had a very good history. Same at the Olympics. So, but notwithstanding, we must be conscious of the fact competitions like this is never by who has the greatest name. You could see at even the world rankings now, a top high ranking country, one of the most successful country in the world in USA, is ranked 5th already, telling you that a lot of teams are closing in and you can't be champions forever. Not at this stage. The stage will always change its ruler, and that's it. The same thing we're almost seeing in Africa. So this is what we have to reality we have to come to terms with. At global competition, it's never go the way you predict, and this is very, very true about women's football, and that's what you could see. So going to the World Cup, you could remember a lot of people talk tough about Australia. These are teams we even downgraded are teams that we even end up beating. So yes, this is competition, and surely you must be aware that if you come strongly against any opposition, you could also always hold your own.
Yes, you could also hold your own. Brazil was there when the last time when we attended the Olympics for the women's football event, and we didn't win any game in our group. Brazil defeated us, but this time around, I know the Super Falcons are out for revenge. Definitely, I think I will go with the words of Chiamaka Nnadozie: underrate us at your own peril. That is the statement coming in from African women's #1 goalkeeper, who will be in that city, the same city where she's playing her trade with Paris FC in the French Kema D1 League. That is the Women's League in France. All right, let's leave that story and go straight to the NFF, the Glass House. Now, it has now become something synonymous with us, fire brigade approach. Finally, after the meeting yesterday, and now we will be having the President FA Cup final on the 29th of June at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium. That is coming in from the NFF, according to the NFF General Secretary, Dr. Mohammed Sanusi, who said this: the final will go down this same day, but the women's final will come first before the men's final at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, because CAF has given us a deadline to submit all of our teams that will be playing the continental football. Samuel, another fire brigade approach beckoning on us, trying to hurry things. When are we going to stop all of this?
Well, I think it's unfortunate we're having the constraints, but I think it's very uneasy, being on the part of managerial duties. It's always not an easy journey to have, even though I think it's important we have an administrator make use of their thinking cap and also plan ahead. I think it's also critical of the game that we look on the positive side. We have a story sitting, and definitely we would have had this challenge if we didn't have that space of over a month where we had to wait for Rivers United to play the outstanding games before we could reconvene and also begin to play other league competition. I think that space definitely will have filled in the season now, and such conversations. But again, I think it's a joy that at least we've managed to see this through, and at least we won't have the advantage, because earlier in the year it was like a mid-June deadline that was being set. But thankfully, the federation has been able to lobby and plead that an extension was given. I think the new extension date for me is favorable to all, and at least something that we are very excited about. That at least CAF could be considerate to give us a June 30 deadline.
Okay, June 30 deadline. On that June 29th, the women's and the men's final of the oldest cup in Nigeria will be happening at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium here in Abuja, where we will know the champions of the FA Cup for men and the champions of that same competition for the men. All right, let's move over straight quickly to the quarterfinal fixtures of the ladies that will be coming up today and various centers in Nigeria. We have game in Asaba, Benin City, Enugu. Let's quickly have the fixtures of the women's quarterfinal games. The men are already in semi-final, but the women will take their own quarterfinals today. Sunshine Queens of Akure, that is Ondo State, will take on Delta Queens at the Samuel Ogbumdia Stadium in Benin City. We have Nasarawa Amazons against Remo Stars Ladies of Ikene in Ogun State. Same stadium, that is in Benin City, that is at the Samuel Ogbumdia Stadium. These two games will happen right there in Benin City. While our own FCT Nigeria Rattles against FC Robo Queens of Lagos in Asaba at the Stephen Keshi Stadium. Then Oshubes of Osun State will take on Rivers Angels of Rivers, that is a River State of Port Harcourt, their headquarters in Enugu. That game will happen at the Cathedral, that is at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu State. Samuel, these are very tough games. The top teams in Nigeria women's football: Robo Queens, Rivers Angels, Osun Beans, Nigeria Rattles, Nasarawa Amazons. I know we'll all be rooting for Nigeria Rattles because they are our own FCT-based women's team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the fixtures, the schedule here is really a mouth-watering one. I think it's also a carryover sort of potential clashes from the regular Nigerian Women's Football League Premiership season. And I think it's exciting fixtures we were looking at, and definitely another interesting result we're expecting, because definitely I think Benin City will have a much exciting occasion with two teams, the early kickoff from 1 p.m. before the second game by 4. And I think these are 4 top teams, these are top flight teams, except for Sunshine Queens that were just freshly relegated. But the only second division team we still have in the contest is Osun Babes, who managed to send Confluence Queens packing, a Super 6 competitive side, getting knocked out by a championship side. So I think it definitely will be an exciting competition, and I think I expect so much drama between the game between Nasarawa and Remo Stars. These are two strong sides, familiar faces, and coaches also know themselves. The National Amazon coach is the coach of the under-20, while also the assistant coach the under-20 team too, in person of Womimo Matthew, is also the coach of Remo Stars. So it definitely will be an interesting contest, and you've seen some of these two teams. And Rivers Angels, who failed to make an impact, failed to win the Nigerian League, failed to set a record, matching the likes of Pelican Stars. They will want to really make up for it at the President's Federation Cup. And I think I'm excited, especially knowing that, yes, the finals will be in Abuja for the first time in history of the Federation Cup, and definitely will matter a lot, since such a giant and magnificent stadium hosting the President's Cup. I think it's prestigious, and surely such an arena will really welcome so much atmosphere. Various venues we've had has struggled to really cater for the numbers of fans, but this time around, I think it definitely will be exciting that, yes, we would likely potentially have full capacity and so many individuals coming from all of the country to be part of it. And who says the presidents won't be there? Well, we'll wait to see. And definitely we FCC fans are excited to play host to the President Federation Cup finals.
Yes, to play host to the President Federation's Cup. The quarterfinal games will be happening today for the women, and then the men's semi-final games is scheduled for Thursday. But those are the games in Benin City, 2 games in Benin City, 1 in Asaba and the other one in Enugu State. All right, let's leave that story and go straight to Europe. The Euro 2024 exciting games, the last group games yesterday, Group F. Came up. Turkey had to come from behind to beat their opponent in that particular game, and one player breaking Cristiano Ronaldo's record in 2004, becoming the youngest player to score in Euro. Let's quickly have the result of those games. Turkey beat Georgia 3-1 in that particular game, and Portugal defeated Czech Republic 2-1 also. They had to, for Neska, the young guy, that guy was giving birth to that was in 2000, coming up to represent and to score his first European Championship goal in that particular game against Conceição, that is his name, against Czech Republic yesterday, right there in Group F. It has been an interesting journey in the Euros 2024. Samuel, quickly, one or two about those games yesterday yesterday night.
Well, I think those games were really surprising. It was some sort of tightly contested games, especially the game between Portugal and Czech Republic. And I think those games were really had a life of its own. You know, seeing the quality of opposition Czech Republic provided, I think I would never imagine it would be that keenly contested. But notwithstanding, we know Czech has been a very traditional country for the history of football, and they've also had their very good times in the past. But I'm impressed by how they held their own. But you know, forcing Portugal to struggle in most period of the game, despite holding possessions, despite enjoying more possessive play. But again, Czech really sat back and held Portugal, and even Ronaldo, you know, the superstars. But I think the major changes done by Roberto Martinez, the coach I respect so much, who also led my football club to success back in 2013. I think I really fell for his fantastic changing acumen. He really made the impactful changes, and the two key players he brought into the team made a difference. They made it look so easy when Portugal's razzle for breakthrough all through 80 plus minutes. But you know, they came through in those final stages to get the very much important winner. So I think it was down to tactics, and I think Czech couldn't have imagined such a disappointing ending. But I think they must definitely hold themselves up high. It's a lot to fight for in that group, and not ignoring the early opening game, you know, which many dubbed as probably the most exciting game of the competition so far between Turkey and Georgia. Definitely, it has a story of its own, and surely lots of positive sides about these exciting games, and not ignoring the most talked about game of Belgium losing to a shocking side, like being upset by Slovakia.
All right. Because we're already out of time. Let's quickly run over this fast story. One man has been on the news, but this time around he's on the transfer news. That is Victor Osimhen, where Arsenal to bid 100 million euros for Victor Osimhen. Well, let's see how that goes. He is likely to leave Napoli before the start of next season, and straight to Chelsea, Stamford Bridge. And right now they show interest, and RB Leipzig striker Lois Openda, who they are looking to replace Broha, who they loaned out. And also we have Borussia Dortmund keen on Brighton midfielder Pascal Gross. They want to take him back to Germany. He's of a German descent. And then the last one on the show, Manchester United always sniffing around now. They are considering a move for Genoa goalkeeper Josep Martinez. That is Manchester United for you. They always look for a player. Let's see if they will get this goalkeeper this time around. All right, that is where we'll be leaving it on the show. 360 Sports. Samuel, thanks for joining on the show. It's been a wonderful one having you on 360 Sports.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure, and I hope everyone will enjoy a sporting week.
All right, that is it on the program. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. Say thanks for watching.